that experience alone with Caroline having cancer, I can't say enough about the importance of cultivating a community.
The BeatiDudes! Hello, BeatiDudes, worldwide, universal, and all future media. Just, getting legalese there for our guests. Welcome to the BeatiDudes. Join us around this metaphysical fire here as we share all things humor and holiness, wit and wisdom, love and laughter, and everything in between. My name is Paul Coker, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Nick Besner.
What's going on?
Soothing. And Jeff Scheffelbein.
Did you say campfire? Don't break my heart. My achy, breaky heart. No.
We'll save that for later.
You just said hologram.
And we're back with Mike Murray.
Yes.
He shared a lot about his non-profit life. That sounded terrible the way I said that.
That's about right.
Nailed it. His life in the world of non-profit, but the life of service really is what it boils down to. We started to hear a little about your family. You also won a pair of socks. We learned about a perestroika. So let's get to it with.
Dang, y'all are good.
With your tell us about the man outside of the non-profiting world. What do you do? What's your family life like?
Daddy Mike.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not calling him that.
No.
Mike the Legend Murray with 5 kids. Is that right?
5 kids. Yes, ages 24 to 10. So been married for over 25 years to Colette, who graduated from UD. That's how she came to Dallas. We met through the Young Adult Catholic group that I talked about.
Oh, yeah, the Young Sarens.
Yes, the Young Sarens. So we have 5 children. It's interesting. She grew up in a very large family. She's from a family of 14 children.
Whoa!
Yes.
Catholic, by the way.
That's a fortnight of kids.
In Chicago, so interesting city, big family, lots of great stories. It came to the University of Dallas, one of 6 of those kids who came to UD.
Do they all have unique names like Colette across the 14?
Or do they just start numbering them after?
No, she was named after St. Colette because her parents had a relationship with these cloistered Poor Clare nuns in Indiana. And the child before Colette died at birth, and her parents were told her mom would never have a child again.
Oh, wow.
But then they had Colette. And so they had asked the Poor Clares in Indiana to pray for them that they could have another child. And they ended up having 5 more kids. So.
Wow.
Quick follow-up question. How does one have a relationship with cloistered nuns?
Well, they do. They can come to the grill and they can talk to you.
That's
so
right.
Maybe the Mother Superior. We went there once on the way back from Chicago. We went and met them and visited them because her family's had a relationship with them for 50 years. And it's a cool place. And I kind of cheated and peeked over the garden wall. And they have this massive garden and they're out there. They are totally self-supportive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a neat
just
story.
for anybody who's not familiar, cloistered just means that basically they take a vow of solitude. Really,
Essentially.
Like they're not interacting with the world.
One of our former employees one time told me that she ran into a cloistered nun at Subway who knew me, and I'm like, I don't think that sentence works.
Say that again, but slower, and think
Yeah.
about it.
Subway is the exception.
Right.
Eat fresh. Anyway. Wow. Okay. So their prayer was efficacious. You might say.
Yes, and thank God it was. Thank God of the Poor Clares. And so we met, and it all happened pretty fast. And we grew up the same way, raised the same way, and had the same values. And so just a very wonderful thing.
Are we talking like 6 weeks of dating?
No, but I was already 30. I knew what I wanted, and this was the girl, obviously.
Yeah.
And so no, we were engaged for 6 months, which these days seems kind of short.
Sure.
But it's what we both wanted, and we were St. Thomas Aquinas, and things were great.
When
Awesome.
you know.
Mike, I've had a heck of a journey this year with kids and health. Really, for many years. This year's been exceptional.
Yes.
Just go back
It's
and watch
peaked
seasons
this year.
2 and 3 of the BeatiDudes. And I can remember knowing just a little bit, but coming around a corner, and when I had found out all this tough news, you gave me the greatest hug of my life, and you started to share some details about your kids and your journey as a father. And first of all, you were there for me spiritually and physically with that hug, but Can you share with all of us, and I don't even know the depths of this, but what you went through and have conquered and journeyed through as a Christian father of 5?
Yeah, I wish I could say I conquered it, but I think survival, as you know, is quite the accomplishment,
It's
right?
pretty good.
When you go through something like you've gone through. So my wife had illnesses, her whole life, and so we dealt with that. She was going through different treatments from almost day one, and so it's very interesting. And then my oldest daughter, Mariana, who's 24, is autistic, seriously intellectually disabled, behavioral issues, the whole bit. It's pretty high level. So we, of course, we didn't know that right when she was born, but it didn't take real long to figure out. So we've been dealing with that since the very, very beginning. She's just different, and she needs a lot of help, and she's complicated. And so we had that going on, and then so we then have more kids. And then when my number 4 child, Caroline, was 3, after my wife had been diagnosed with another autoimmune illness, and my 24-year-old daughter had spent 7 months at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, away from the family when she was 7. So these things just kept coming. My 3-year-old daughter, Caroline, was diagnosed with cancer. And it was so similar because one day, almost by accident, we discovered it, and 2 days later, she's in surgery, and a few days later, she's in radiation, and she's 3. And it's just overwhelming because you know that kind of thing happens, but when it happens to you, especially when it's cascading, when there's other things, it's a lot. It's very different.
It happens, but then you realize it can happen to you, and that's like a moment of like, wait a minute, this isn't my story. This is a story you hear about on a podcast.
That's exactly right. And you're in the middle of it. And one of the first, so already dealing with some very serious things, but when Caroline was diagnosed with cancer, that was the moment. I was like, okay, God, this is a lot. I said, are you kidding me? Right? And I still, it wasn't like I was doubting my faith or anything like that, but it just seems kind of, but that's a lot, right? One thing after another. And, but it was really interesting because I learned a lot, because that's when I had these wonderful friends like from St. Thomas and other places, and I really, really leaned on that. And more than anything, I learned the value of community. And there are buddies from high school and all walks of my life, the young Sarans, and next thing I know, we're just totally surrounded. So yes, I put a lot in the communities, but I got so much. That experience alone with Caroline having cancer, I can't say enough about the importance of cultivating a community. And thank God we belong to a parish, and thank God I went to schools in Dallas, and I have a big family, and she has a big family. But that saved us. I have a good buddy who, just a couple years older than me, died several years ago from cancer. He had cancer when Caroline was diagnosed, and so I really leaned on him, and he told me things that it's okay to do these things. It's okay to accept things from other people. It's okay to, remove yourself from other environments. I know you stepped off a board and things like that. Those kinds of things become necessary. So
it's funny because you want to cowboy up and not accept things from people, but people want to give you something. They want to contribute. Yeah. And I had to cross over it's pride that was in my way and say, yes, we'll accept it. And I got to tell you, the ways that people supported us, I didn't expect to need. But once you have it, you're like, oh, wait, this is exactly what, God knew what he's doing by putting this moment, this card, this gift, whatever. How did it play out with Caroline?
Very, very well. She's 13, 8th grader. The treatment worked very well, pretty quickly. And so she was out of the woods within a few months, and she's doing great, and it's in all likelihood not going to come back.
Did you ever do any of these, like, go on a trip with your daughter kind of things, or what?
I think at that time, all our kids were young. And we had our oldest daughter, and I think it was truly survival mode.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the post-celebration or Make-A-Wish type stuff, did you ever do?
Oh, yes. So this is I gave a talk once, I came up with this, because it kind of puts things into sharp relief, I don't know anybody who has 2 separate children who've been recipients of a Make-A-Wish gift award.
Oh, wow.
2 different times, 2 different kids, 2 different situations. That says a lot, right?
So Caroline,
Mariana first, and then Caroline, we got to go probably on the best vacation we ever went on as a family to Florida. And she's 3, and she said, I want to go to a beach far away and pick seashells. that's what she wanted to do.
Sweet.
And that's what we did. Seashell capital of the world in Florida. So self-proclaimed anyway. But that's just one of those things. So good does come out of it. And it was the family bonds and your little kids, it's difficult on them. That there certainly wasn't collateral damage. It's hard. It's strange. It's different. Yeah. My son, who's 20, his only sibling he had at the time, his older sister, just when he's 3, just disappears and goes to Baltimore for 7 months. I mean, that's so you people say, well, you learn these things and you grow stronger. You do, but these are very strange things that happen, especially to a little kid, that you then have to work out and deal with, and creates a very different life.
I think there's a lot of people that go through these things and they feel like they're doing it alone, or they don't want to burden other people, or my situation is so unique, nobody would know what this is like. You said a little bit of this, but what advice do you give, or encouragement do you give, or nudge for people that are facing this, and or people that somebody in their life is facing a battle, their kids or their family or their spouse is getting wrecked by something, and how can you give some advice with the experience you've had?
Well, first of all, do invest in community on the front end, because it pays off in spades, and I can't tell you what value that had for us. Faith, I realized early on, again, you have some things, but with Caroline, that was like the third big thing that had happened, and I thought, how in the world do people who do not have faith get through this? What do they put their hope in? You have great doctors, and the treatment's going to be successful, and you're going to research this on Google and learn all about Wilm's tumor. Well, what else do you have if you don't have God, some higher power, to take care of this for you, because you become pretty much powerless, and this just takes over. And so that was a big realization. And then the other one was I am much more sympathetic to people who go off the rails. And
it's understandable and extreme duress.
I don't know what you're going through.
Yeah,
right. Walking down the street, or
no, you don't. And I think it's not an excuse, but when there's a lot of pressure put on somebody, especially if they don't have the benefit of formation, community, faith, all these things, and they just go off the deep end, it's like, I get it. I totally get it. And so I don't want to be judgmental to them. People have free will and can make choices, but at the same time, sometimes there's things like my friend who died of cancer. He goes, if one more person says, well, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, because I'm going to punch him in the face. and everyone always says that, and they mean well by it. Sure. And there's nothing wrong with saying it, but it's like, gosh, I'm just trying to make it to tomorrow. I know God is there with me, but that doesn't make me feel any better at all.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I got a few things I'm dealing with, some sick kids, and I'm like, this is kind of hard and stressful. Like, this is nothing. Yeah. Like, I am dealing with nothing.
It is funny that people mean well.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
But,
go ahead.
I was going to say, like, when we were going through our journey, we had somebody tell my wife what she had to change immediately on diet. And my wife was like, it's brain cancer. It's very different than, some of the stuff that you saw a documentary about. Or people say, you have to call. If you don't call, then you are making, I'm like, don't you dare put this on me. You're the 17th person a day to tell me I have to call somebody. Yeah. Maybe I will. Probably I won't. It's my reality.
Yeah. You just be there. And my friend again, who died, said that you are doing more for those people by letting them help you than you're really even doing for yourself, because people want to help and they don't know what to do. And we had more food delivered to our house than we ever could have eaten, right?
That's
and
beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. And so it does allow people to practice that gift of charity.
Well, and I know what people mean when they say God doesn't give you more than you can handle, because St. Paul even says that he will not allow us to be tried beyond our strength, and he'll provide the way out and everything. But I think the real saying is, sometimes he does give us more than we can handle, so we'll let him handle it. Because we try to
which could end in your death. I mean, it's like that's an acceptable outcome of God's will in that situation for the good of all.
Because we don't see
not the good of all, but you know what I mean. There's a bigger picture to this.
That we can offer that up. I mean, in that. Even if you look in,
this is good for you. That's not what I meant to say.
No.
Trust me, it's very good for you.
You're saying from the eternal perspective that God draws good out of all of this. Yeah. So I mean, it's. And one of the verses that struck me, I can't remember when I stumbled on this, but it was at the end of Luke's gospel, the road to Emmaus, and Jesus is asking them what they're sad about. Essentially, these disciples that are walking away from Jerusalem, and they said, "Do you not know what happened to this man named Jesus?" And Jesus, of course, is probably smirking to himself, but he's like, "What things?" And and they end up like pouring their heart out and saying, "We had hoped that he would be the one to save Israel." So they're basically confessing despair, not terminal despair, but like just their despair in the moment. And then he says, "Was it not necessary that the Son of Man would suffer?" And that's what blew me away. Is it's like, okay, I don't understand how it can be necessary,
But it is.
but it is, and that God then brings something even greater out of all of that. So,
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I was just gonna say, like, as you were talking about big family, big community, like tons of love and support. It's like that's happening less in the world, and like these people, I don't know. It's just like I want to like have more kids, like get more involved, like know who your neighbor is. Like there's like a app to communicate with all your neighbors, but have you ever shaken their hand?
Right. You can, instead of using your thumbs, you can use your knuckles and knock on their door.
But you realize how good people are and how much people care and how different gifts people have that can help you.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't know how to help, and there is a sense of isolation, and we don't come out of our houses, and your neighbors, by and large, are really good people.
They are.
And it's a huge benefit to you. It's just the whole thing about we spend too much time on our phones or whatever it is. It's all about real life and knowing people and getting involved, and this is so much more rewarding.
Yeah.
And it, like in my case, eventually, life-saving often.
Yeah, so go watch these next 3 YouTube videos about spending more time in real life. Link to those in the show notes.
AI will put this right in front of you and suck you in. It was interesting because you talk about like the trials we go through, and you can also have fun in these times, because that part where you said, "Are you kidding me?" It's not like I hate you, God. It's more like, what? Are you kidding me? Because we were doing Exodus 90. The 3 of us were like starting our 90-day journey of asceticism and sacrifice and holy hours. And my kid gets a brain tumor, a brain surgery, and brain cancer. And that's when I finally got back to the app and I saw upgrade. And I'm like, I got upgraded on Exodus 90. They put me in a special club. It's called Job 365. It is next level sacrifice asceticism.
Yeah. No, I had a friend say, "You're Job." That wasn't very comforting. But at the same time, I was like,
Yeah, there was some days there. We joked in the first show, but I mean it completely, that you really are a mentor, a spiritual father, a friend, and a community builder through and through. There's a reason why when those sisters from Michigan wanted to create some sort of a groundswell in Dallas, Texas, they called me and they called you, and they're like, "Do you know Mike Murray?" I'm like, "He's 20 feet away from me right now."
Lucid Private Office.
LucidPrivateOffice.com.
the same thing happened to me.
And you got the same call, and we're like, "Yes, just come. We'll just get everybody together." But it's funny, like maybe we made our new epicenters too close together. Just a deeper shockwave of community right here at Lucid Private Office.
Well, I tell people is I don't think there's a whole lot I can help you with, especially in a nonprofit, but I can help you with knowledge and information and people and networks, and I know a few people, and I feel like I have to do that because I don't know how else I can help people. And so I'm just naturally predispositioned by growing up here, having gone to Jesuit, being involved. That's what I can offer. So I feel like I'm always in my job. I'm always asking people for something, right? And I feel like, gosh, if I have an opportunity for them to ask me for something, I've got to do it.
Well, that's where I ask people to like, subscribe, share, and comment. 5-star review, the BeatiDudes. That's what I'm asking for.
There you go.
That's it.
Weirdly, that was my exact ask as well. Yeah. Probably Nick's.
100%. Verbatim.
5 stars. Okay, Mike, you get 5 stars for this episode. Thanks for blessing us. Thanks for being a part of the BeatiDudes. Thanks for being part of the BeatiDudes Nation. You're on the tour. Every guest we bring in, I'm like, I'm almost kind of like, all right, now meet Mike Murray. He's a staple in the Catholic community. We love him. He's amazing.
He's the legend.
The legend.
Well, yeah, I enjoy all the impromptu introductions, and
That's right.
It's great. This is a great place to be.
It is.
Get to be with people like y'all.
Yeah. And we mentioned Flip. I was looking at some of the podcasts that I've been on for other people. Flip's face is inside of that bronze eagle right over Mike's head.
I'm not looking at it.
It's really funny. Oh, your head is in the way. Darn.
On the straight on.
Darny, darn. There it is.
Yeah,
Look, there's Flip's face on an eagle's wings.
Yep.
Flip will raise you up. What?
I'll raise you up on eagles.
How many times did you hear that song at Jesuit? That was like
A
every
lot,
Friday.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You who dwell. Yeah.
Shadow of the night. I sang that during my chirp witness song. Or my witness.
No.
Yes, I did. Don't you judge me.
Well,
That's a no judgment zone.
He doesn't.
Why don't I
you
remember
said
that? I approve that
You were
testimony.
blinded by the light.
Jeff, put your shirt back on.
Okay, you missed the first episode, then nothing makes sense about my closing choice. Closing choice?
Closing
Wow.
clothing
It
choices.
is a closing choice.
Because we're wrapping
Close it
this
up.
episode up.
Wrap it up. Mike, God bless you, brother. We
Thank you.
appreciate you so much. We'll see you in the halls of Lucid Private Office. For the rest of you, we will.
See you in the Eucharist.
God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @, so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @ the _ BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.